Motion to open the Selectmen's meeting.
So moved. Second.
The pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we even sit down tonight, we have executive session. So Damon, can you read it?
I move we enter into executive session to discuss a strategy with respect to threatened litigation because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of this body. Roll call vote. Chairman Walker.
Chairman Walker, yes.
Selectman Bear.
Chuck Fair, yes.
Selectman Jesperson, yes. Selectman Colby.
Yes.
Selectman Greco.
Yes.
This meeting will reconvene at the conclusion of the executive session.
Okay, we're ready to reconvene our meeting. After executive session, we will head into board and committee reports. And the first one would be Eric, Chair of the Municipal Building Committee. And he would like to talk to us about the final executive summary.
That's right, final executive summary. Careful. Highly skilled professional. Well, am I on camera today?
Yes.
Is that light on?
The red light's on.
Awesome.
Okay, so the
Eric, why don't you go over this side a little low so your voice gets picked up for sure.
sit down in front of the camera.
You gotta make sure we can see you as well.
You want me to sit in front of everybody?
Oh, you're gonna move it and everything? All right, go. Sorry, Eric, sorry.
Picks up pretty well.
I'm not going to be all that. Okay, so the Municipal Building Committee has met several times recently. We've assessed where we are, where we've been. We have, I think, what we'll call the final recommendation. And it's only a final recommendation because I think going through the projects, the recommendations, the work that's been done to date, we've sort of summed up what we feel are the best projects that meet what we originally set out to do. So in terms of what I have, or what you have in front of you now, what the final recommendation looks like, it's basically a letter to you, which will sum up. It goes through a page of options. It goes then through a little bit of history of supporting documents, if you want to sort of read back and remember about past meetings or other presentations that were made. And then there are three projects, CSPs, conceptual site plans, that are basically summed up in 2 pages each. So, the Municipal Building Committee has been running course for 2 years now. It's kind of hard to believe, but it's been 2 years, and that's followed on the heels of the Public Safety Complex Committee and the Public Safety Site Selection Committee. The focus has been to assess possible solutions for Newbury's police and town hall and fire facility needs. The committee's original charter, as we understood it, is that the Selectmen asked us to develop a solution that addressed the greatest number of facility needs and provided the greatest long-term value. Now, the Municipal Building Committee picked up the public safety complex. That was the previous committee, and we were also given a new charge to say, okay, let's look beyond police and fire. Let's look at a police and town hall. So now what we have is in terms of a final recommendation, it's not one project, but 3 for your selection and action and review. And these are the 3 most viable options that the committee considered. It was not it was a majority consensus. It wasn't a unanimous consensus in terms of ordering the projects, but in terms of programmatic needs, site options, conceptual design alternatives, associated costs, we concluded that still the public safety complex has the best value for building of square footage, solving the most facility needs, and building a building that would provide value in terms of operational costs and service long into the future. The same can be said for a new town hall, a new police station right here on town hall property. Sharing mechanical rooms, sharing elevators, sharing stairs provides synergies. Not exactly as many synergies as the fire and the police departments could have, but still there's savings. Construction is a risky business, it's a costly business, financing is costly. There's no such thing as a small project. 2 small projects usually equal more than 1 large project. And so with that, we also then, for comparison, because that seemed to be the recent charge for the public safety complex, is how did that size up to the new? And what we've also added is a standalone police station, or what we'll call a phased option. I think what needs to be vetted and what needs to be run to ground is maybe the financial means of the thought of is the initial cost is higher, would it prove out to have longer term value for the residents in town and actually be more economical over the long haul. Today, this week is probably the best week to get a loan for financing, without a joke, because from what we've looked at the past, we could be somewhere around 2%. Is that right, Tracy?
Yep.
And, we had previously presented 4.5 to be conservative, as the Fed was talking about raising interest rates, and that's not to say between now and by the time this project gets selected, by the time the project gets voted on, by the time the designer teams get selected, by the time the design phase goes for a year or less, and the time it takes to construct, which is usually 12 to 14 months, where are we going to be with finance costs and construction escalation? The economy could improve, and as the economy improves, both material costs, labor costs, and financing costs all go up. So I think the basic summary is that this is, there's no new real information in this packet. The numbers presented in the packet have been rounded off and rounded up. No longer have a spreadsheet that's counting printing costs versus some lawyer costs versus some surveying costs, designers. It's been rounded to percentages. It's then been rounded up to the nearest $1 million, so as not to be confusing or to be pegged. I would hope that if a good OPM is selected and a good architect is selected, you certainly should, and attention is paid to the program and attention is paid during the design, understanding exactly what you're going to get for the dollar, that you could do a project for less than is stated on each one of these. That said, from the 2 years and the year from the Public Safety Complex Committee, a lot of things have changed. There wasn't a sewer hookup here at the town hall at that time. Their relationship and issues and actually purchasing property with the fire company were greatly different back then. And so let's go through the options. As I said before, they're listed in order of numbers. The numbers in terms of how the projects shake out relate back to the March 22nd, the last presentation that was made, and the last document that was issued with costs on it. So the new was conceptual site plan 1. Combining a new town hall here with a new police station behind it on this existing property. This building has issues in the basement with leaking foundations. The sewer system has been improved. Space is limited in terms of height. Downstairs for full use of office space, which include record storage. Systems need to be updated. The outside of the building certainly looks nice and has been updated and should last a while. The roof is still old and susceptible to leaks. They've been repaired, but there's still some leaky tiles that could become an issue at any time here. And the building does not meet accessibility codes. With that, I'd have to say that I think that the new, one of the benefits, or one of the things that I see in terms of planning of this site of Morgan Ave is that the town hall really should be located on Route 1. That our town is something very special. I think a lot of people hold near and dear, and that we're 19 years from being 400 years old. And to take
Route 1A.
Route 1A, what I said?
Route 1.
Thanks for the answer. As you know, towns were built, they were centered around the green. There's, we should be able to build a building that the town is proud of, residents are all proud of, and that any visitor that drives by understands who we are and what we are, because this is the face of the town. Next is the public safety complex, which is, I have to say that conceptual site plan 2 was this building renovated, a 1,400 square foot addition put on the side of it, and about a 9,000 square foot police station squeaked in between the fire station and this building. That was dropped because it, with the footprint of this building, and not going up but going out, you lose parking spaces, and we can't even meet our own zoning regulations for parking. So the committee decided to drop that proposal. The next is a conceptual site plan 3, the public safety complex. I think we've been over that in the past. It's the bigger building of the options. I think the thing with the police station and the fire station that you need to know, and that we've been reporting, is that the police station is about half the size that it should be in terms of the proper number of rooms that it should have to operate. And in review from our architects, CSS architects, and even going to Don Hammond Sweeney, another architect that specializes in municipal buildings, we have about 40 projects that were comparison projects that showed population versus building size, and the 9,000 square feet that was recommended for the police station is at one of the lowest sizes amongst those projects. That said, Rowley was just passed and approved a project which is almost exactly similar in size and cost to the public safety complex. The next option is the phased facility plan. Now that the property is owned and there's issues about, there would be no issues of building a building on town land. There seemed to be an issue previously. The new police station, possibly with a future fire station or town hall addition onto it, or just even having 3 facilities here on Morgan Ave is more efficient than having the department spread across the town. Been previously considered, just to go through this one more time, but as I said, conceptual site plan 2 was a renovation with additions to this building. The Woodbridge School was considered, the town library was considered, the town forest was considered. The Governor's Academy at one time had a site that they were willing to lease. Mantor Field, somebody came forward on Sled Road and Boston Road for a piece of property, and the JRM hauling and recycling came up. As previously vetted, in terms of bringing water and sewer to those locations for mission critical facility, had costs, and some of them had issues like the library where a grant would have to be repaid if a police station was to be added to the library on the library property. I think governors, although they're being gracious, certainly focused on updated sewer treatment issues and needs. It may not be as agreeable for a building added on their property that would increase or tax their septic system treatment plant for their future goals and needs. Then on the next page, there's just a list of dates from 2012 to 2016 about all the meetings, presentations, annual town meetings. I think from the start of 2013 and early 2014, when the municipal building committee was formed somewhere around April and held their first meeting in May, June, that we proceeded to have a fair amount of synergy and cohesiveness. We had a great meeting at the library in October. A lot of people seemed to come together with an understanding of what site would be good, what project would be good, synergies that could be had. And then, yes, some people can say we've taken some left turns or maybe some U-turns, but it's always been with trying to provide, again, the most facility needs, the best long-term cost. When you add in moving and temporary facilities, property costs, just the cost of construction. And all these documents are available in past presentations if needed. So, conceptual site plan 3, public safety complex. Police station is 9,000 square feet, new fire station is 11,000 square feet. It's a total of 20,000 square feet, taking a number of $500 a square foot. For the project costs, that's about 25% soft costs on that, which could be a little less, but we have FF&E to consider, and we have some escalation to consider. So in this project, it runs the range of what it previously was, 10.8 million to 12.8, and the previous price tag was about 11.5, depending on the property value previously presented for the fire company number 2. And a $10 million building still has renovations are needed at town hall to fit all the staff that actually work in this building. And that would either require some renovations upstairs, but would also require some sort of an addition to this building. That's conceptual site plan 3. There's some plans. Conceptual site plan 1 is the new combined town hall police station. Again, new police is 9,000 square feet. The town hall is 9,000 square feet. This building has 3,000 square feet on this floor, or 3,200 square feet on this floor, 3,000 square feet below us, and there's about 1,400 square feet plus or minus in the trailers outside. Since we started, there's been money or funding for a media room that we didn't have in the program originally. Record storage is still out at the transfer station in acceptable conditions, and possibly some of the basement space in the back could be used for that. Any differences in comparisons of square footages from previous presentations, the one thing that you'd have to add to the two projects is who shared the mechanical space when we had a combined building. In some projects it was all in the police station, in some projects it was split between the two, but that's, you saw a 9,500 square foot number, that's why there's a difference in square foot. So again, 18,000 square feet, $500 a square foot, $9 million. When the fire station has been known that, although lesser talked about and lesser studied, still has issues in terms of spaces that they don't have for proper layout and operations. So there's some amount of money, $5 million to maybe $1 million that might be needed over there. And this project cost is 9.5 to 10. Third option, phased option, says call it a new police station. It's 10,000 square feet. There's an extra 1,000 square feet in there for a singular building. There's no sharing of mechanical spaces. And again, once you get into design, the building is laid out, the corridors are determined, that gross impact can come down and go back to 9,000 square feet. But that's a $5 million building. And the question, the caveat with this option is renovation of town hall, addition to town hall, and renovation required at the fire station. So although it's a $5 million standalone building on an undeveloped site, there's some project costs that renovation of town hall with a small addition was about 1.9 million previously 2014. So this is $6.7 to $9 million project. And then comes phase 2, and phase 2 is town hall or fire station. The nice thing about the phase 2 project, that if there was a fire station added to a police station on the far piece of property, there would be a decent parking lot to facilitate any kind of community needs here at town hall, at the police station, at the fire station for functions. And the one thing, the phased project, one of the drawbacks or cons is the way that I think this is developed in town and the understanding of facility needs and trying to solve them. Would we ever get to a second project? Would we try to build too much future flexibility into a building that we never actually get value out of? And the costs that are slated here are the same costs for today, and they're not escalated for 4, 5, 10 years down the road. And then lastly, there's a schedule. The schedule really just outlines, where we are today, where we have, where the warrant is set. We have a fall special town meeting come up. We have a fall election. If both go favorably for the project that's selected, then we have OPM would start. The OPM needs to be hired before the designers are selected. And then there's a design phase of anywhere from 8 months to a year. Hopefully it can go fairly quickly, and then construction would start. Design phase was limited. You obviously want to start construction before the dead of winter, so it's a good thing to do. So in terms of targeting the schedule, and if you have 14 months of construction, 13 months of construction, you could be done by December 2018. So we're still quite a ways away, although we've added 2 years onto this whole process in terms of getting where we ultimately want to go. Again, there's no real new information in here. Project numbers are all rounded up. I think the committee, the municipal building committee, has done its job and purpose to focus on a building project. Obviously, this has lots of other ramifications and issues across town in terms of understanding it and getting the word out. Certainly I am. I'm sure there's people from the municipal building committee that would gladly show up for a meeting, or if something needed to be pulled forward or tweaked, certainly be done. And I know there's people out there that are willing to support the project. I just think that the final words from the municipal building committee is one project needs to be selected, and you can't keep advancing 3 projects on the same level. The effort to do that, to get to the next level of accurate information, is just too great for our committee. And if you were to hire a consultant, you wouldn't hire a consultant to design 3 projects for you to pick one. That wouldn't be good money spent. So with that, any questions? Questions or?
Thank you, Eric.
So,
Eric, just
done
thank
the-
you very much.
I mean, you have been pulled in many, many different directions, gone off on it, and you stuck with it. Somebody else would have run off pulling their hair. Thank you for
I think you
sticking.
pulled this mayor out.
On camera. And seriously, thank you.
Thank you.
I agree.
Good.
I have a question.
Good. Any questions from the board?
I have one. On the phase, this conceptual site plan for the phase project, you have, first phase, the total project cost of 6.7 to 9 million. And then you have phased CSP, or second phase, another 5.6 to 9. So just for sake of conversation, I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. Is it true that the first, if we choose to go this path, the first phase of just getting the police department fixed, a new one, and fixing town hall somewhat, is gonna cost on the high side, 9 million, roughly.
Depending on the renovations to town hall, the addition to town hall, and any renovations to the fire station.
Okay, so, and then in another 5 to 6 years, this 5.6 to 6 million for phase 2, that's gonna be on top of, roughly?
Yeah, I would forward forecast those numbers to be about that. They seem high. If you do more in the first phase, you can do less in the second phase. If you do more in the first, if you do less in the first phase, and you kick it out instead of 5 years, 10 years, then there'll be more costs. So it's kind of very hard to really nail down phase 2.
But could you please clarify, was that 5.6 to 6, or I thought you said 9?
9.
5.6 to 9.
We can give you this.
Thank you.
So if we're just gonna go on the high side, because I know I built my house, I need to go more money than you expect. It could be 9 million for phase 1, and then 5 to 6 years later, you're looking at another 9 million for phase 2. So you're talking about potential $18 million to build something that if we went another way, maybe cost 10 or 11.
If interest rates go up and escalation keeps going up and the size of the needs go up, unless repairs are done sooner, you could be on the high side, yes. When you take into the total cost. I wouldn't, I don't know,
It's a guess. I mean,
They're a guess to me.
it's a guesstimate. I would focus on the first phase costs, figure out where that wants to be. I guess one thing in closing, I didn't say that in terms of planning for projects, there's 2 ways to look at it. You either pick the program, say we're gonna solve this program, or you pick a dollar amount budget and you work towards that. But either way, you need both, you need a schedule in order to have a complete project. So, is it we're gonna champion this, the most facilities, and that's what it's gonna cost, or are we gonna say this is the budget, and let's figure out how to do this, and this for that budget? Which may not be the best option. Because, passing the buck down the road.
All right, Eric, thank you so much. Question, okay? First of all, is there any other questions for Eric from my board? Now, my thoughts are right now, and I want people to think about what I'm saying, is I probably could make a decision tonight on what part of the project, or what project I wanted to vote on. It's an intricate, large commitment. I think this has been a process that's been somewhat hampered by the relationship maybe with the fire department in the beginning, whether they're environmental waste, do we need pilings, were the trailers really needing to go? We changed our minds several times. So it's been kind of a process, and we changed our minds a lot of the times because we tried to listen, and we tried to somewhat be responsive to concerns that were before us. But I can say this now, we need to be ready sometime in August for the ballot. We've got to come up with a decision, so it can either be tonight or in our next meeting. But when we come up with this meeting, guys, it should be one decision. It shouldn't be tempered by 3 or 4 other thoughts. And we should come to some conclusion on what we would like to put on the ballot and take to town meeting. We've heard every scenario in the world. And I think it's time, this time, to make one clean-cut decision that we can live with and take it to the voters. Now, I'm ready for any other thoughts.
Just speaking in generalities, studying this stuff to no end, talking to people that are for the big building, talking to people that are for the bare minimum. I think where we end up, we all need to be a little bit unhappy, then we're gonna know we're about the right place. If we're not all perfectly happy with it, then we're somewhere where we need to be. So that's all I want to say about it right now.
Damon, Chuck, Richard?
I think JR's probably right that we're all gonna end up a bit unhappy with this project. nature of the beast. The fact that the phased project could end up costing, as much as $5 million more than the most expensive option that we looked at first, I think is something people need to be aware of, that we can't avoid all of the expenses that are coming down to us. And, yeah, we need a new building and we need it sooner than later.
Okay. It would be wonderful to have all new facilities. Yes, I understand that the price is going to go up down the road if we do the phase-in project. None of the prices are going to matter if the people will not vote it in. We need the first phase to be on the ballot. People will 70% vote for it. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I know a standalone police station will go. Everybody agrees on that. And I think if we phase it in, do the police station, get it built, get the police out of this building, then turn our trucks onto this building 3, 4, 5 years down the road, that's the way to go.
Just to answer Chuck a little bit, and then I know Alicia has something to say too. I think what Chuck says has merit, but I can't imagine heading towards any sort of freestanding police station, especially when the police were to move out of here without having within the concept a complete or a adequate renovation of town hall, spatially speaking anyway. If we were gonna go with that minimized approach, which could be where we end up, I think it would be folly when the police moved to the new police station before town hall came back, that we didn't put the addition on town hall. And bring it as much up to code and compliance, as Damon's always saying, as we can.
In one form or another, we gotta get 2 facilities out of this. Just doing one, I think, is a big mistake.
Yep.
What do you think about, I know nobody wants to hear this, but what do you think about having another Saturday morning soiree? Asking we had a packed house when we had it the last time. I don't know how you feel about that. I think we might get one across, how you feel. Just throwing it out.
The only thing point of interest I'd offer to the board is really, we'll need the final ballot language to be voted at the July 26th meeting. So just keep that date, be aware of that. So we need to know what we're building. And also, upon Selectman Justin Soon's recommendation, I had a conversation with Jim Lavin of USDA and received the application, preliminary application. We discussed it. He's very willing to come out and meet with the board. So once we decide, which direction the town wants to go in, I'd certainly invite him to meet with you to talk about his program, to understand how it would benefit the community.
Do we need to watch the news for the next country to leave the European Union to see what their rates will do?
There's talk of them
It's in
going
our
to a
favor.
negative.
Hearing what was said, if people want to not have a decision tonight, I can decide for them. If people would like to make a decision at our next meeting, after collectively doing work by themselves and talking to other people, and certainly our next meeting could be a long one, and we could entertain some people from the audience. But by that time, if we can't make our decision, I think it's probably
26th is the meeting, we'll have to have a
Why,
special
what's the
second
26th?
Tuesday meeting, probably just for this.
What's the 22nd, what's on the 26th or so on?
Well, we're only having one meeting that month, so generally the meetings throughout the summer are much longer than normal, so.
Is the time to become a time?
Oh, sure.
We need it on the 26th,
I
right?
stand corrected.
Yeah,
We need
yeah,
a
we need
final,
it.
a final.
Do we need the final language on the 26th?
Yeah.
So we need to make a decision before then.
Oh, well, that night. You need to decide by that night so I can get it to the town clerk and she can get it
I will say this. I have nothing against having another selectmen's meeting. Most of the time, you will get some input, and you can get input outside of a selectmen's meeting or a Saturday meeting. We end up sometimes having a lot of the same people speaking to us at these meetings. We've certainly had a lot of meetings. I would actually ask our board, I don't know how you're gonna do it, but we need a decision, not a maybe decision, not a collective, maybe we'll do this and do that. We need a decision.
When do you want the decision?
If we have, we'll make that decision on whether we have a special meeting on the 26th tonight. But we need a decision. We gotta be big people and make a decision.
Well, I just got this tonight, so I want to take it home and read it. I haven't even read it. I'm not ready to vote.
So you can get this in the email or anything? No? All right, what do you want to do? Make a motion. When would you like to meet? Can you do it on the 26th, or you want a special meeting on the 12th?
Do the 12th, the 19th. The 26th is not regular meeting.
Make the 12th.
Make a motion.
Motion
I move
to
it.
have a selectmen's meeting on the 12th to make the final decision.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Is that all that's going to be on the agenda?
Yep. Unless there's something
Major.
like
Not my lot.
super. Steve, we're not going to talk a lot about this tonight, Steve, so we probably better speak for everyone.
Steve Graham, 21 Forest Street. Just a couple of things that I think need to be said. First of all, the committee was just as conflicted as you people are going to be about all of these projects, and we looked at all of them. That said, for the last year and a half, it's been my honor to serve with her. And I don't even want to venture a guess on how many hundreds of hours this guy worked on these projects. But I'll bet he saved the town several $100,000, and he needs to be thanked for that.
Very quick.
Okay, we're talking between over $10 million, and you want me to be very quick.
Yeah, because you'll have your chance at that meeting that we sit. So we got a lot to do tonight with the appointment, so make it quick tonight.
Okay, I will speak my piece,
Go ahead.
okay?
No, because honestly, it's going to be quick tonight because you will have an opportunity to speak at the meeting we make our decision. So.
I'm
speak.
going to not be able to speak until you make
No.
a decision in 2 weeks.
You can speak tonight, but it's not going to be a long discussion. We're not going to entertain.
I'm not talking about, I'm talking about representing some people that I'm with,
And-
and I have a right to say what I have to
And you
say.
can certainly do that tonight. And you
You're
can-
talking about a $10 million project.
And you can do
You
it.
want me to keep it within, what,
Fred,
30 seconds?
do you want me to sit you down?
You can do whatever you want. I'm here
You
to
can
speak my
You
piece.
can speak at the meeting that we have on the
You
12th.
said it's gonna
or
be
you can
decided on the
speak-
12th.
Or you can, which you can enter into, or you can speak tonight somewhat, but we're not gonna entertain a lot of discussion.
I'm not entertaining a lot of
Speak,
discussion.
speak.
I'm just speaking of past things. In the year 2013, they said that this, we needed to get the building built now because the interest rate was never going to be any lower. 3 years later, they're saying, we need to get the building built now because the interest rate will never be any lower. This vote has failed 2 times. 2 times. The municipal building, the people have told us 2 times that they don't want it built. There are only 2,700 homes in the town of Newbury that have to pay for this amount, you know. And it's very important that we have another voice besides just the municipal building committee, like it or not.
Fred, that's what town meeting is for, and that's what the ballot's for, but go ahead.
This just got over. Okay, my proposal.
You voted twice for this, go ahead.
No, we voted twice against it,
Right,
okay?
that's your voice.
Okay, that's our voice. Now here is my voice, okay?
Mhm.
I have a right to speak my piece. Okay, I have spoken to the state representative. I have spoken to the state senator. Okay, I have spoken to the Attorney General's office. I have spoken to legal counsel. It is under my opinion that we can bring you a petition that has to be sent to the Attorney General's office with a $4.5 million standalone police station at 9,000 square feet. Okay? And that can be competing with your project.
Don't have a problem with it.
Okay? That's all I have to say.
Good.
And then the people can make a choice. Give them two options. Is that so difficult?
Well, that I haven't really understood yet, because I don't know how you can give them two options on a ballot. You can talk about two different things at town meeting, and that's what you're talking about on the warrant, and that's fine.
Well, ours will be separate then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? We're gonna
Don't
present
worry,
that to you,
Don't worry
and you
about
can
it.
pass it
If that's-
on to whatever you
If
want
you
to
think
do.
that's contentious, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
good.
What makes you think if you put the same thing on over and over again, you're gonna get a different result?
Well, you're taking for granted that we're putting the same thing on. We haven't made that
And
decision.
you're assuming you know what everyone's thinking
And
about
and
this
it's okay.
project, and you don't.
It's okay.
You don't.
I'm assuming that I know what people come and ask me to do, so this is what they've asked me to do.
I know what people have asked me to do.
Okay, then that's up to you guys.
If you guys want to file a petition, bring it up.
So bring it, put it on
Okay.
the warrant, because it'll work,
Okay.
it'll be good.
Nobody's
Honest.
blocking you.
Okay,
Perfect.
I just wanted to speak 2 minutes to get my point across.
And don't be afraid to speak on the 12th. Fine. Perfect. Okay, want to close that part of the meeting? No public hearings? We have a town administrator's report.
Yes. All right. Well, we've got some good news. I've recently received notification from the Commonwealth that West Newbury has been approved for an IT grant award of $36,490. Did I say West Newbury? I'm sorry. Newbury, sorry. I don't know where that came from. That was from the past. Sorry about that. But Newbury has received a grant award of $36,490 for IT. Susan Noyce was the successful applicant. She wrote the grant, and that money will be reimbursed to us as we spend it. We also received another $35,000 in grant award monies that I can contract with someone to put together a much more comprehensive long-term capital improvement plan in conjunction with financial management policies. So that grant proposal that I wrote was approved, so we have that money coming to us as well. I wanted to provide a major field update. John Hartnett and Sons has completed the septic system work and the roadway work. And as of today, I have a contract ready to execute with Gordon Martin for the remediation project, which hopefully will start as soon as we can get the contractor and the engineer to coordinate their schedules. Town Hall move. We have the movers are scheduled to be here on July 15th. I'm going to need to close the town offices at noon on the 14th in order for us to finish up all of the final packing arrangements. And we will need to be closed on Monday, July 18th for all the unpacking, setting up, and then we'll be open for business Tuesday, hopefully without a glitch, Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. The engineering, electrical work, the whole project has been logistical dominoes from bidding to where we are today. Susan has coordinated all of the IT work, which has been a monumental task and has done a phenomenal job. The Olga Way storage of sand, we received a contact from someone who was a consultant representing the city of Newburyport, requesting that they be allowed to store approximately 3,600 cubic yards of sand at Olga Way. I contacted the chairman it was kind of, we needed a response pretty quickly. We've done this in the past, so we did grant a permission. The sand will be trucked in over basically the next 4 weeks. The DPW director will show them where it can be stored, And in exchange, we're going to be able to utilize some of that sand to spread out on Dartmouth Way, which has a serious erosion in that right of way.
And I think also, if by any reason that sand is there long enough, that some of the problems that are being supposedly created by the Joneses now have been minimized and the sand is used, that if that sand is stockpiled there and we have a major event in the winter that jeopardizes the sewer, it's very close to the areas that are needed for it to be used.
We have received our new council on aging ban, and I'd like to ask the board to take a vote to declare the 2003 Ford cut van surplus, so that we can put that up.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. And the only other thing, as of today, we're receiving considerable complaints about the portable toilets being abused on Plum Island, so that has been referred to the Board of Health.
Steve, are you here?
Board of
Tracy
Health.
just mentioned, you want to come up and talk a little bit about what's going on?
What's going on down on the island?
Steve was just filling me in. What's going on down there?
And this will be from the Board of Health's view, right, Steve? Get the front seat, please.
Well, sort of as expected, the porta potties are a mess. One of my colleagues would like me to call the contractor and have them hauled away. That's not a first step. We talked about several different options.
What's happened to them, Steve?
Trash.
In the porta potties again?
In the
Why
porta
can't they
potties.
walk over to the dumpster?
Disposable diapers are just that, disposable people will dispose of them almost anywhere.
And the dumpster is how far away?
About 15 yards.
So how often are those potties dumped?
Right now, once a week, but there's a call going to be made tomorrow morning to make it twice, Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah.
We'll try that.
But it's still trash in there, actually it's physical trash.
They're a mess. Tracy's seen the photos.
So I mean, like people's sandwich wrappers and bags,
You name it.
and then not in the dumpster.
I know this is sounds like a simple solution, but are there signs on those bathrooms that say, please dispose of your trash in the thing?
It will be Thursday morning.
Okay.
Should think that'd be common sense, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well,
Jeez.
Some people don't have it.
I could say something, but I might have to or whatever. But before we get them hauled away, we'll try walking them from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., see if that helps. We don't have a clue. We don't have a clue when it's happening.
Okay.
More than likely, it's during the day.
Now, we've asked John Lucy for Homeland Security. Homeland Security moves kind of slowly. Tracy, oh, John's here, oh, Mike's here, good.
There is a grant, a camera grant, and one of the locations for that, the camera is Plum Island Center, and it's a Homeland Security grant, and normal course of action with the federal government, they're running a little bit behind. The grant still is in progress. It's a harbor safety grant, and so it's cameras for all the point of entries and waterways up the eastern seaboard of Massachusetts. And Newbury is slated for 5 cameras, and Plum Island Center is one of them. It's just I don't have a timetable at this point. We were told when the project first started that it would be in April, and obviously that has passed. So we're still waiting.
You know, I think the Homeland Security cameras are a good idea. We could even install some of our own cameras, but when you start to, throw rocks at Homeland Security cameras, you're into a pretty serious offense. Probably a little more than probably throwing rocks at something we try to install. So it would be nice to get into those type of cameras, because I mean, when you get into trying to create damage to those, it can be a pretty rigorous offense.
I think the town might want to think about installing a webcam. That way, if there's a mess down there, we can ask people to check the webcam at such and such a date and time, maybe they'll recognize somebody, who knows? But the fact is, right now, it's a problem.
So you want us to live stream our litter or something?
No, but you know what, I honestly think that if, once we have these cameras down there, I think this is an issue that we have to address now. We have to get people down there 2 or 3 times a week to clean this problem. But once we have cameras, I would like to see the police department find them. And
We would
find
too.
them- Find them heavily, because we're gonna get license plates, and that's the end of it.
I came before this board about 6 months ago suggesting that you increase the litter fine to $300, which is the maximum of the non-criminal disposition. And I thought you guys were gonna put it on the annual town meeting as an article, but you didn't.
No, I don't wanna increase the fine, the fine is fine the way it is, but I
No, it
want.
isn't.
Well,
You know, I mean,
we gotta stop fining.
that's something maybe at the next meeting,
No, we looked at it, there's a reason why we couldn't. I
Has to
remember
go to
looking at
town
those.
meeting.
this goes town meeting. But I mean, to be honest, what's the fine
And we
now?
looked at the surrounding communities,
Can
and
you
we were gonna
remember,
be the
Steve?
highest.
Mike, can
It's
you
a $100 bylaw,
Huh?
$100 bylaw.
And we looked at some of the surrounding towns,
Right.
and most of the surrounding towns were more, weren't they?
Some were right in the area where we are.
I don't
but-
think we're way up.
No, we're not way out of it.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you,
Thank you, Eric.
No, I think we just have to catch a few people, and that's the end of it.
We've been
That's the hard part.
heavily saturating the area with patrols, and obviously when the police are out there, no one's littering.
We need unlocked
But-
cars.
You go.
I mean, once again, you know, we have time before town meeting, we can think a little bit about discussing the fines again.
I think
That's in your court, yeah, and
Yeah.
I encourage you to increase it
We'll
to
put it on the
the
agenda.
maximum that the state constitution allows for non-criminal disposition. And then when you do catch somebody, you'll probably make the newspaper, because they'll be screaming loud enough, gender here and at home.
What does it have to be before you start to reach like felony, $500?
Excuse me?
When do things reach criminal, like, is it $500 for a felony or
Above 300.
above 300?
250, actually.
So a 300 fine would actually start to become a felony?
No, littering is never a felony.
Okay, good,
No.
good.
It's,
All right.
no.
So that's about it?
Yeah, I just want to put the board on notice that if this continues, we'll have no choice but to remove them.
We'll be in the same boat as we were last year. So
Now, wait a minute, why do we have to remove them?
Pardon?
They're health hazard, but
You
why
want to
can't
go
we?
clean them?
Well, we can pay somebody to clean them.
That's an
Well,
option.
we have a limited budget though, that was appropriated at town meeting, what did we appropriate, 4,500 for the year?
I don't remember.
See,
Hey.
the way I see Plum Island is that it's a reflection on the town of Newburgh. And I think that's the only beach that we've got. I think it belongs to us, and I think we need to take care of it. And I think we need to find a solution. We're not the only community in the world that deals with public littering. I think we can solve it, and I don't think it's gonna be that expensive. I don't know how, but we're gonna have to put our nose to the grindstone and figure it out. We only deal with it for June, July, and August.
well, we certainly didn't spend any time trying.
Peter?
We did spend a lot of time on the Plum Island Study Committee, and Bob Courier is here from the Plum Island Study Committee, and the Board of Selectmen was good enough to try out some sanitation measures, and this is the first time we're really paying close attention to it. I think that the dumpster's working pretty well. There are always going to be people who are going to offend everybody else. I find disposable diapers in the street in front of my house on Plum Island. Okay, people are gonna do that.
Okay.
I have a picture here that I'm not gonna show you, but it shows that within sight of the porta potties and a dumpster, that a person found the need not to walk across the street to use the porta potty. So that's how bad it is. There are always a few people like that. I will say that the people who rent the porta potties are in the business to solve this, and this cannot be the first time that someone has abused the privilege of
That's what I'm
having
thinking.
a portable toilet. Now, I don't know whether they've complained about it But I think this is, at this point, they're under contract, and I think it's their problem to solve with our assistance. The cameras would be very helpful. If we have the cameras, then we also need signage. I don't know if anybody's working on that. But signage to tell people that there are cameras.
Smile, you're on Candy
Yeah,
Camera?
something to that effect. So there are always gonna be a few animals out there who, and I don't mean the coyotes who are in the dumpster. I put a sign on the dumpster to try to keep the door closed, and hopefully people will close it at night, because there are coyotes out there. So, but there are people who act like that, act worse than animals. There are always gonna be a few of them. So if the board can see its way to try this longer, you know, any of us on Plum Island, if we can help out in some way, you know, short of, you know, actually fishing things out of the porta potty, because I think that's the responsibility of the contractor, I would beg your forbearance on this for this summer anyway. Thank you.
Thanks for all your time.
Steve has already made the first step into trying to get them, you know, dumped more often, which I think is a good one.
Yeah. Well, we're, you know, Steve was a tremendous asset to the committee, I want to say, to the Plum Island Study Committee. So we're trying to work this out, you know, together.
And I mean,
for the town.
you can't be really writing numbers down, I guess you could, but it's hard. So, Mike, we really maybe gotta send out,
The issue with pulling
Alicia,
the,
can I speak
oh,
please?
sorry.
We're gonna have to send out some way of getting through the rigorous, tedious, you know, we need to get through the Homeland Security to find out somewhat what the schedule is, or we might have to try to put some sort of security cameras up.
Deputy Chief and I have been discussing some other options as far as video surveillance out there, so it's in the works. And, you know, at some point, if Homeland Security doesn't look like it's gonna come through in a timely fashion, I mean, we have a short beach season, the deputy and I will be coming before the board with
All right, why
another
don't we try
option.
to do that within the next couple of weeks, and Steve, the Board of Health is gonna do some signage.
Yeah,
That was saying,
it'll be
so
up
if you need
Thursday.
extra help or something, let me know, and so we'll make that step. All right?
The issue is if we just pull the stuff out of there, the trash is gonna get dumped anyways, and they're still gonna do it. They'll go to the bathroom on the ground. So,
Any other questions, guys?
you know what I mean?
We're under new business.
Can we back up for a second to the sand dumping on Old Way?
Go ahead.
I have had many requests from the people who live on Old Way. What is the other one?
What was for?
What was it for? If we would reverse the one way, have them come in Weber's Court, out Old Way. And I guess they're going all over Alva's lawn when the trucks turn in. And she said it would be an E because the telephone pole is so close to the street. So I just thought I'd bring it to your attention that there is an issue right there that you'd like us to resolve.
Can, you talk to Mike afterwards and kind of see what that issue is with Mike, make it more, and then.
What I don't know
So
is
you
if
know
we
what
have
it
to have
is.
a public hearing to change.
I was talking to someone, so I wasn't paying
Well, you
full
might have
attention,
to
I
have a
apologize.
public hearing to change the right away.
I'll consult with the chief
So
and
do
the
it,
DPW
right.
director and find out about the process.
Okay.
Very good, thank you. I just thought I'd bring it to light to everybody here that there is an issue and they'd like
When we
us.
did it in Byfield, it took Merrimack Valley planning and a lot of different things, so.
Right.
But the idea might be
It was
okay.
a temporary work order for just his job to get the sand in there, right?
that
Because
would
you can
be-
reverse traffic,
Yeah,
you don't even have the support of the,
so, thing is, by the time we meet again, the project probably be done.
well, that's what I was thinking, rather than trying to change the direction of the streets, we just close them for the work coming in, dump the sand, and then
People still
return
back
back
it up, yeah.
So if we just put a detail on it, it might be less better.
It's only gonna go on for about 4 weeks. But I'll check with
All right,
Chief.
And I think
Mike
moving
and
forward,
see
it
what
needs to
we
be
can
at
do.
our capital. Got some of the trucks on. Yeah,
GPS, yeah.
they're gonna be a lot of capital.
all right.
All right, under new business, is Donald Jarvis here? He's not. So we're gonna pass over, Donald was gonna give us an update on the parish burying ground. So we're heading into appointments. And hopefully, these go kind of quickly. This is some of the reasons we wanted to rush through these a little bit tonight. I think the first page of what Ellen has put together is kind of almost like a table of contents. Am I wrong, or am I reading that? All right, so we're gonna pop over to the first item of interest, and that's from the office of the town clerk to the board of selectmen. When we have more than one, more than two, more than three, I'm gonna read them, and if you want to go back and discuss one of those names, just say hold. So, we have one appointment here, and it is an election worker for the remainder of 2016 calendar, and it's Barbara Murray. Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. The next letter of appointment is to re-up, is it yearly, Tracy?
Which one?
3
For
year
a
term.
letter for the town council?
3 years.
3 years.
All right, so it's 3 years of Blattman, Borowski, Mead, and Talaman. So is there a motion for town council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
In front of us now to the Board of Selectmen from the Police Department, we have appointments, and they're 3 years appointments for Mike Riley, Chief, John Lucy, Deputy Chief, Jay Ruthia, Patricia Fisher, Stephen Jenkins, Aaron Wojcicki, Mike Somowski,
Mark Smigielski.
Miss Somowski,
You're close, don't worry.
Mike
Keep
Crowder,
going.
Stephen Smith, and Andrew Bridges for the full-time police officers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
For reserve patrolmen, it is a one-year appointment. It's John Lucy III. It is James Valonis. It is Michael Mallett. It is Daniel Jenkins, Charles Colby, Jason DeCuna, and William LeBon, Joseph Gamache, and Christina Hunt. And one person is off, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'm gonna recuse myself.
Okay. Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Communications dispatcher, one-year appointment, Amber Todd and John Baker. Is there a motion?
Motion to.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And it is for the department chaplain. Is it Hagopian?
Hagopian.
Hagopian. And it is Robert, and he is the chaplain from Raleigh.
Motion to
Good
approve.
guy. Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Special police, Roger Murray and Christopher Walsh.
Motion to approve.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Animal control, Carol LaRock and Reed Wilson.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Animal inspector, 1 year, Carol LaRock.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Emergency management, we have Michael Riley, John Lucy, someone read that one.
Nathan Walker.
Jay Ruthia, James Valonis, and Robert Bishop, and John Baker, and I'm gonna recuse myself because of Nate.
Motion to approve all.
Second.
All those in
Discussion.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Agricultural Commission,
Again,
6
gonna
members.
recuse myself.
Oh, yeah. Agricultural Commission, 6 members. William Colby, John Newtown, Karen O'Brien, Matt Kazaki, and Lisa Colby.
Motion to approve all.
Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor?
Well, let me just talk about this. Some of these people haven't said that they want to come back. Do we just open them in anyways?
I would say that we're gonna appoint them anyway. The process is new. Maybe we'll tighten it up next year, and if they don't wanna be appointed, they can come and tell us, unless you wanna do something different.
Nope, that sounds good to me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Board of Registrars, Carol Boyd, Harry Fish.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Boards of Boston Trail Committees, Martha Taylor, Steve Fram, Tim Curtis, John Van Slaywick, I can say it. Selwick, sorry, Christine Wilson.
Motion to approve.
Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Capital Planning Committee, Nicholas Oram.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
So, we have to.
Les Jones, Conservation Commission, 3-year term. Les Jones, James Cunningham, John O'Connell, and he is from the planning board, right?
He's the planning board member, yeah.
And Susan is an alternate. We have letters for interest from Ben Hagan. All these people are returning, and it seems like Ed Dearden might be leaving in a short period of time, so that would be a good time for Ben, but he's just, I think he's moving. So anyway, and I served on the planning board a long time with Ed, so can I have a motion for those people, please?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
No, I'm in discussion. James Cunningham, he hasn't given a response back if he wanted to be on it.
Was that the same question you asked before when we went through this on the others? So you just asked this question.
Well, are we seating, who are we seating on this? You're going kind of fast, Jeff.
Well, you
Slow it
know,
down.
but I'm just saying, you just asked this question back here because they didn't
For
have this
that
stuff
commission,
in.
but now we're talking about a different commission.
And to be honest, maybe thinking that this could be an issue, I checked with Doug already and he said yes, that James Cunningham wants to be on it.
So what are we gonna do? How many people are we seating?
We're seeing the people that we just read unless you want to hold one.
So we're seating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
No,
this commission?
you're seating 4 because I just spoke about how Ben Cahagan isn't gonna have to wait for Ed Dearden when he leaves.
So what Jeff has said is that Ed's about to leave, so it'd be better to hold Ben in reserve and fill him into the vacancy that's about to appear, rather than unseating one of the members.
And then have.
Why can't we just add a number? Is it a bylaw or is it?
I don't know if there's a certain amount. That's a good question. I don't know.
Can I make a motion to appoint Ben Gehagen to Conservation Commission?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Unless there's a certain amount of people that on the
I think there's a
council.
bylaw that
The
says
law-
how many members are gonna be
I
on.
don't
7
know.
residents of the town,
How many?
composed of 7 residents of the town.
And how many other people are serving now?
We don't know. I mean, I
No.
can't remember.
There are 7
There are 7
This-
already.
total.
There's 7 total, and I think, isn't there an issue, or wasn't town council gonna be looking into appointing town employees to boards and commissions?
We can ask her that, we can ask her for that.
I think she was gonna do that, because there's a town employee here as an alternate.
So you're saying that town council is gonna make a ruling that could tell us that a person that works for the town cannot be like an alternate on the conservation?
Shouldn't be an appointed official for the town, yeah.
So we can either hold or make the appointment and wait for the ruling from town council. So,
We've been doing it this way for
I know,
many, many
it's fine.
years.
but
Doesn't mean it's right.
why don't we take and make the appointments as they stand, and if for some reason Susan can't serve as an alternate because of town council's recommendation, then she'll have to stand down.
Sounds good to me.
Unless you wanna do it a different way, I don't care either.
I don't have a horse in this race. I think we made a motion, now we've had discussion, so we can move to a vote.
So all those in favor?
Wait a minute, what am I voting on?
Keeping
All
the
the
appointment.
You go too fast.
It already carried, we had enough votes. It is because we're gonna wait and see on that alternate, if for any reason,
What time?
Is an alternate one of the 7?
no, it's when something actually happens and she has to serve.
In addition.
Can Ben Gehagen be an alternate? Or is there a limit on how many alternates we can have? I know some boards have up to 4, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the planning board has.
I think if we let him slip away, it's a mistake.
No, I think Ben's.
I was about to say that we should make sure that he gets notified that we'd like him to serve, because especially if Ed's
Yeah.
leaving,
Yeah,
we're
no,
gonna
I
need
mean-
him.
Well, I'd like
To
to.
be honest-
He sent a letter, he's interested.
No, Ben has talked with Doug, he sent a letter, he would be a great addition because everyone works well with Ben, and I think it's a process that just needs to open up. Susan being an alternate, we could actually,
Yeah,
I mean.
so I move that we make Ben Gahan an alternate on the conservation.
And if he chooses to do so, any discussion on that?
We
Oh,
need a
second.
Instead of Susan.
No,
Another
in
alternate.
addition.
just addition.
Yeah, we're gonna keep everybody we have and add him as an alternate, and then
Yeah.
if a position should open up, he will move up into
That's
the.
fine for me.
I think this is good.
That's
Or if
what I'm
someone's
happy with
absent,
that.
if someone is absent at a meeting, he can sit
He
in for
serves.
that meeting.
Correct, that
Okay.
sounds good.
Second,
Second,
all those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Council on Aging, Sherry Dorr, Evelyn Noyce, Elba Goldthorpe, and Joyce Macheros, and Charles Rudick. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Cultural Council, Paula Jacobson and
Kathy.
Catherine Moose. Muse. All those in favor? Oh, excuse me. Motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? I'll get it tired. Finance Committee.
I'm gonna recuse myself.
Yeah. 3-year term. It's Larry Gay and Marshall Jesperson. So, why don't we take those first, because then there could be a it's gonna be a 1-year appointment for Bob, right?
Yeah, to fill in.
All right, so we're gonna take Larry Gay and Marshall Jesperson first. Motion.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now we have, Bob Connors has resigned, and we have Frank Visconti, Paul Mayette, I guess, that have voiced their desire to be on, and the Finance Committee has kind of recommended, because they've looked hard, and I think Frank stood back a little, so Paul Mayette seems to be the Finance Committee's choice, so I'll take a motion on what,
To nominate Paul Maietti.
and is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Do they need an alternate? You guys want an alternate?
No alternates, no alternates.
You want an outlet? We can get you an alternate. Veterans Grave Registration Officer, and we have one person, Donald Jarvis. I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think he's been doing a great job.
Yes,
Yes, he has.
It's really busting his tail.
yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How, you're gonna talk about that a little later in new business or, you know?
Oh, sure, I can talk
Yeah,
about that.
Yeah, don't forget. Historic Commission.
Chairman, there was a request on Paul Jarvis's, he wants to increase his appointment to a 2 or 3 year term. As per Mass General Law, Chapter 115, Section 9, the term shall not exceed 5 years. So you'd like you to consider that. It's right there.
No, what Chuck asked is that something we have to put in front of town meeting, is it,
Is it a bylaw? I don't think so, is it?
where are we on
Mass
something
General
like
Law.
this, guys?
Yeah, it's a Massachusetts general law, it's not a bylaw.
But it's gotta be written in the description of the job. What the term should be.
It says-
Shall be determined by the appointing authority.
So
You
good,
guys.
good to go.
Yep.
I'll take a motion. I don't think that's a bad request.
I move that we change the term of the Veteran Graves Registration Officer from 1 year to 2 years.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
Does anyone want to do 3 years versus 2
Yeah,
years?
why are you thinking 2 years, Darren?
Just in 2 years seems like if you get into it, you can decide if you want to run anything. I don't know that it requires the sort of learning curve that some of the other boards and committees require. And it is a lot of actual manual labor to do this job. And I don't want to lock someone in and have them get bored and not do a good job by the end of their term.
Okay, I agree.
But 3 years is fine if people think that's a better.
Well, I think you gave a good explanation.
I think 2 is good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Historical Commission, Jan Forrest, Leva Jackman. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second motion, I missed it, so.
Is there discussion?
Maybe
All
no
those-
fast.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Media Committee. Alicia Greco, Paul Dobbs, Donald Jarvis, Mario Cannavale.
Okay, Mario is, no, you gotta wait till we get discussion.
No, it's good, yep, all right.
So,
Now it gets a little edgy here. We have interest of people to be on it, and we need one to fill Richard Henderson's seat, and Mario Cannavale did not respond, and he's thinking he doesn't want to be on it.
He
He's told
can't be
you.
on it, he emailed me and said he was enjoyed his time on it, but his job is pulling him away, and he cannot do it.
So we have two people that would like to be on, and that fills those two positions anyway, so it's probably kind of interesting, right?
Well, Joe McDonough, he was on our committee before, he got pulled with his job out of the country for a while, but he's back, so he wants to be on it. And Susan Noyes has graciously offered to sit on the committee as well. But again, there's a question about town employees being appointed officials, that
So why don't
So-
we do the same thing we did before, and we'll do Alicia Greco, Paul Dobbs, Donald Jarvis, Joe McDonald, and Susan Noyes. Do
So
I hear-
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Alicia, you can't.
I can't vote. Well, actually, I'm really not on the committee, I'm like a liaison to the board of selectmen. But I do vote,
Okay.
so I don't know, should I not vote?
Don't worry about it.
Abstain from the
Yeah.
vote.
Merrimack Valley Planning,
I don't want
this
that.
is the commissioners, so John Weiss and Martha Taylor, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Open Space Committee, Michael Carbone, Dan Streeter, Martha Taylor, motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Personnel Board, Diane Doyle is what, the representative from the town, Tracy? And Richard Harris, Steve DeSalvo, and,
Steve Salvo.
yeah, Steve Salvo, excuse me.
Motion to approve.
Wait a minute. Now, John has moved, John Wilkinson has moved, and someone else resigned.
Evangeline Sutter.
Now, didn't we have someone else that was going to come in? No? All right, so we're just gonna have the appointments of those
How many do
three
we need
above.
on this board? Do we need more than 3? Are there others that are already on the board that aren't being appointed?
These are the ones that are expiring, the ones you see.
So there are people that are already on the board that aren't expiring?
Yep.
Okay.
So we
there's
will
one.
have the full 7-member. board.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is-
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Planning Board elected members. Associate members and members for other boards, okay. Where's Peter going? Peg- Is this a,
This is for.
oh, that's
to
an
reap-
associate member,
Right,
okay.
to
And John
reappoint him as
O'Connell is
associate.
the appointment to the planning board
He's a planning,
as the member of the
the planning
conservation
board member of
commission.
the Concom.
So we're actually appointing an associate member and John to the Conservation Commission as a representative of the planning board.
Right, although I think you already
And
appointed.
that really confused me,
Yeah.
yeah. We already covered
Yeah,
that.
Right.
So John
I think
we've
you covered
covered.
him under the
Okay.
Concom.
So it's just an associate member with Peter.
Wasn't Jim gonna fulfill that role or no?
He actually ended up having a conflict,
Ah,
and so he can't do it for a year, and he's still interested, but he can't. So the board rescinded its vote based on that, and John O'Connell requested to be reappointed.
you go up to him for 1 more year.
So, and Pete is definitely interested in staying as associate member.
Motion.
Motion to approve Peter Picasso?
Pecos.
Pecos. Second. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Recreational Committee. I'll go through these. Richard Capilupo, Diane Manta, Warren Manta, John, Mogalini,
Marcolini.
Joe Story, Rebecca Tekijian, Dave Taylor. And we have people below that would like to become part of the Recreation Committee. Is there any amount of people that can be on the Recreation Committee? Tracy?
The town counter provided some research because I couldn't find any documentation to outline their charge or what they were responsible for or how many members when we were looking into this. And Eileen went back to about 2000. As far as we could see, at that time, back in 2000, there was the Open Space and Recreation Committee. And they were created when we started buying up property for open space. Then around June of 2000, the Kent and Miniature purchases were made. Town meeting voted a committee to, and their charge was to research the best use for recreation purposes. That's the only description that I can find for our recreation committee. At that time, Dick Passeri headed it up, he was the chairman, and the representation of the committee was to be made up of people, representatives from all sports groups, the open space committee, and then there were other members serving on the committee, Betty Baer, Dick Bazigan, Joan Wayburn, and Doug Packer. And that was, again, back in September of 2000. Around that time, the Open Space and Recreation Plan was issued. And about 2001, Dick Passeri presented an award to Huntress and Associates to design the Central Street and Kentway properties to provide an initial design. Around 2001, Dick Passeri and Joan Wayburn resigned, and at that point, Warren Manter and Diane Manter were put on. He became chairman. Rich Capilupo and Jeff Baker were put on. And then, let's see, 2002, the field plan was revised, and the construction work for the athletic bid was awarded. And let's see, that was basically all I could find on all of the history. But the only, definition of what they're supposed to do was a committee that was created to research the best use for those properties for recreational purposes. So there's no number of people, there's no real specific charge. I know in conversations I've had with some of the current membership, they talk about only being in charge of Manter Field, that's it. I don't see where that was the case. It may be what it's evolved into, but that was the only language that I could find was the 2000 town meeting vote.
Now, the fields at the library, sans the Kent Way fields, because they were never totally developed. So the other fields that are by the library are mostly baseball right now.
As far as I know, I don't have the Hunter's plans. I haven't been able to locate them.
Little League and all those people or whatever it is. So it would make sense that this committee evolved towards setting up the use of Manter Field. And the Little League probably did some of the use of the other field and scheduling. That's probably how that occurred. I don't know. I don't know what it would take at this point to redesign the recreational committee. It might be something we should take on. But
I'd like to see the recreation committee for the town of Newbury take on the recreation needs of the whole town, not just be focused on Central Street Fields. And actually the building that's on Central Street Fields, I would like to see, that's a capital investment. It's a capital building, it's a capital expenditure. It really doesn't belong with the rec committee. I would like to see that building taken away from the rec committee and given to capital planning.
Well, thanks.
Capital investment. And have, or capital planning can at least take the capital investment, capital building, and decide what's the best way to finish it. I mean, the town owns it, we've got to finish it. And it's, I don't think it's appropriate to have the recreation revenues from these kids playing in the field, building a building. I think that belongs to the town. So, that's my 2 cents.
so, why don't we take that on? Because we gotta have some guidelines that head into that. And one of the things is the recreational committee as it stands, if the recreational committee is going to start to be in charge of the Little League, you're gonna probably have to advertise this in a different way.
Advertise what?
The recreational committee, because you can probably get participants from the Little League that would want to be on the recreational committee, because up until this point, I don't think the recreational committee has had much to say about how little league fields we use.
Well, I would like to have the rec committee take a look at everything. We have a fabulous resource on Plum Island. I mean, I'd love to see an educational program come up with the kids during the summer, utilizing the Plum Island Wildlife Refuge, having a summer camp there. There's the Parker River Clean Water Association, there's Alewife. I mean, the recreation capabilities of this town, I think, are huge. And if you look at some of the two people that are interested in being on the rec committee, one is Celine Muldowney, I believe she's here, and also Mike Balcone and Mark Sand. All of these people, I think they see a broader picture than just Central Street. And honestly, I feel that's the best interest of the residents, taxpayers, and children in the town of Newbury, is to have a more broader approach at what our town is.
I think if you were going to head into this, which I think you could take on Alicia maybe with our town planner or something, Martha, but you would have to head into redesigning some of the approach to how you would set up structurally the description of the recreational.
Why would
And it would
why would
probably-
that fall from the town plan?
Well, because they've been involved with the Open Space Recreational Committee before. And, you know, instead of all of us, I mean, Martha, I don't know if that's the next step or not. Or maybe you
Not that's on
can,
your own.
well, no, or Alicia, you can head out to do the work of redesigning this.
Redesigning
Well,
what?
we do have the vote from town meeting that says it's supposed to be a rep from each of the sports group and the open space committee, and then some membership at large.
You'd have to have a pretty good public.
But you're gonna have to start at
Baseball.
this next year. You're gonna have to lay all the groundwork, and I think it's a great idea, and you should do it. But you're gonna have to start out heading in that direction. You just can't do it overnight. So,
But yeah, some direction for the charge of the committee beyond
yeah, absolutely.
developing open space, I think is very,
And I mean,
very much
it
needed.
was your idea, and I don't know who you could work with. Martha, any suggestions? Maybe some of the liaisons from the actual committee itself that we come out of tonight? I mean, I don't know how to get this going. And it might be something for you to think about, Alicia, in your mind,
Get
and ask some
what going?
questions to other people.
the formalization of the direction and charge of the open space recreation.
Okay, it's
Well,
mine,
there are
okay.
two separate things, and the open space committee was really focused on open space and open space plan. The recreation committee was really focused on active recreation.
But they were together, because I was on it back then.
Well, the open space and recreation committee, or the open space and recreation plan was really, developing the plan based on the state guidelines. And recreation was a component of that, but
And that's where we had the 5-year plan, 3-year plan,
Right,
2-year plan,
right,
but
right.
those were all developing our fields and everything else was in
And
it.
that was part of it, and actually the acquisition of the Central Street
It
Fields
was part of that whole
came
thing.
out
Right.
of that effort.
So that's why I mentioned you, because I think you and I were both on that committee back then.
We were, but that, then they kind of branched off and had very different focus.
And you don't see a need to put them back together?
No,
right
there
now,
could
do
be
you?
a need, there could absolutely be a need.
And it's
Probably
certainly
we're not
worth-
gonna get to the end of it tonight.
Right, I mean, it's
But-
worth discussion, but
Absolutely.
it's, the charge that was voted at town meeting is very different from the sort of the broader open space charge.
Yeah, and the Little League is always taken care of, the baseball field behind the library. They raise their own money, they pay to have it pumped, they have all that taken care of, separate from the recreation committee. So you have to have those two come
And I
together.
don't think we mow that out of, the town doesn't mow that out.
Not that I'm aware of, but I'll have to
Right.
follow up.
So as I say, there's a lot of discussion to be done.
And I think next year we could spend some time doing that. But right now, did we have any holds on this committee? Want me to go back through it again? Anyone want to hold people? I'm gonna read.
I'm gonna recuse myself.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well,
why
you
do
can
you want me
recuse
to
you
take
now.
over?
Recuse yourself on one name.
I'll just do it on the whole thing.
Okay, well, that doesn't make it easier. I mean, I could recuse myself. I know Richie Capilupo,
Yeah.
So let's get serious. So, we're gonna, if you have a hold on any of these names, say them now. Richard Capilupo, Diane Mantor,
Oh,
Warren Manton,
Hold.
John
Marcolini.
Macalini, Joe Story,
Hold.
Rebecca Takesha, Dave Taylor. And I think where there's no other, where there doesn't seem to be a number, we should go through Celine Muldowney, Mark, how is that?
Sand.
And Michael Volpone. We would make a motion that we would be able to put all those people on the committee, but we'll make the motion to discuss the holds. So the first hold we had was Diane Manton. So whoever held that hold, what was the reason for not, what do you want to do?
Well, my reason for holding was that I see a committee of 8. And there's 3 new residents, and there's 3. I just see keeping the committee at 8. And that's why I held that.
C7.
Or 7.
Chairman, would you entertain comments from the audience?
Let us get through it. Yeah, no, go ahead, probably on this, go ahead.
Dale Williams, 12 Scarlet Heights. I have no particular animus toward Warren Manton.
We're talking about Diane right now.
I know, I want to talk overall, but what we had talked about 2 seconds ago. The rec committee, we have incredible potential in this town for recreation. We have the Little League over here, which works by themselves quite effectively, I think. We used to have a program at Newbury Elementary, which was self-sustaining, summer programs, wonderful. They're doing it at the high school and middle school now, so there's nothing happening at Newbury Elementary from those fields developed. We have a Kent Way property that was funded to be developed and never was. The focus of this current committee is totally on Central Street and totally on the building by their own expression. That is not comprehensive enough to develop our recreation programs in the town if the singular focus of the current committee is on one property, albeit an important property. Based on what Tracy said at a town meeting, great idea to have members of the different Triton Youth Soccer, lacrosse, pee-wee, football, whatever. They should be represented on this committee along with other members, because that can get kind of parochial if it's just them. So I agree with you, Jeff, that someone has to take a more comprehensive look at our recreation committee. And the way it's been functioning, I think there's only 3, they've had agendas on the website, but they have never put on minutes, 3 minutes in the last 2+ years. That's unacceptable. And with what's happened here in the last 6 months over there, there is absolutely no way the chairman of that committee should ever be reseated on that committee after defiling town property. It's just unacceptable to me, and I think to the rest of the town. Not to take away from the good things that have happened, but I agree with you, Jeff. We need to take a comprehensive look on what this rec committee is designed. The Little League should come under it. Plum Island should come under it. Newbury Elementary Field should come under it. The Upper Green Fields. Kent Way, what are we doing? Huge potential there. Maybe some investment by the town. But as the committee stands, it hasn't even been reappointed in several years. So it's stagnant, it's myopic, and something needs to change.
Now, that being said, we're still going to go through the holds for the existing committee this year for whatever they facilitate at Mantorfield. Okay, whether it's scheduling or whatever happens, liaisonally speaking. I think what Alicia said and why I wanted her to pursue it is going to take a year. It's going to be an expanded committee. There's certainly, I can't speak for the Little League, but they're going to have to be spoken to before people, I mean, they've done a good job for a long time. They're probably not going to want to come under a big umbrella of a lot of other people. So we're going to have to work through this as a process. It'll probably take a public hearing. It'll have to be like some of the other things we've done. It'll have to be redesigned, and it'll have to, when Alicia, if you can speak to Martha or whoever else steps forward to help you with this, we're going to have to put forward meetings to design this committee.
I don't think anybody wants to take over the Little League. I think we just want them to
It
have a
does,
seat
no,
at the table.
I'm just saying, they're gonna have to participate with this, and they haven't before, so, and I know they're very proud of their accomplishments. So
And
we
they
have
should
to, we have to do it with some, it has to be done with, what's the word I'm trying to think?
Sensitivity.
Sensitivity to the fact they're functioning pretty well doing this, and on and on and on, and where are we gonna go? So, I don't think it's gonna come out of these people. I think it's gonna have to come out of the leadership, maybe like I said, with Alicia, myself, and Martha, and other people from our board, whoever else wants to get involved with this, to pull some design for the recreational committee forward, but it's gonna take a year.
Well, you want to do it right.
Yeah. So my thoughts are to appoint, and there's some new people that will be on this committee, there is no number. We have 3 holes, let's discuss the holes.
Well, I gave you my holds, they're all under the same umbrella, the same reason why, because it was 3 and 3. I
All
wanted
right.
to make it 28, but discuss
Well,
it. 7.
7, all right. Well, one thing now, and we know this, do you still have a hold on Diane? No?
No, we've done talking
All
about it.
right, do you have a hold on Warren still?
I cannot support that man being appointed to this.
Well, to be honest, a lot of what we've talked about is that while there is an ongoing problem with Warren, it's gonna be hard to reappoint him until things are taken and straightened out. So, and that was the hold you had there. Now, you have a hold on Joe's story, is that still,
That's,
that doesn't have, all right, so we
that-
have,
I told my reason.
so we have,
We're missing a name.
I missed a name. There is a, Bill went.
okay, and Bill went last.
I'm sorry.
I
All
thought there
right,
was
so
a.
relax. So the only hold we have right now because of
Well,
the dispute is Warren.
I want to speak to Joe's story. A number of discussions that have been had in town, he said that he's actively working against the town's successfully moving anything forward. And I don't think that's a very appropriate attitude for a member of a town committee, even the rec committee. So someone who's actively trying to sabotage the successful functioning of the town doesn't necessarily serve us well on the committee.
I second Selectman Jesperson's opinion.
That's kind of a double-edged sword. It's double barrel. You can come up and say what you want to say.
Yeah, you can't.
Cheers.
But we need the appointments.
Yeah, and anyone who says to help with you and what you're trying to do, you know, he said it, he can live by it. If he really wants to help the town, that's not the attitude that I think helps him.
Now, not to defend Joe, because he and I have a lot of discussions too, but I don't know if Joe, and maybe someone can enlighten me, has done a lot of work on this committee or not. I don't know if he's a good committee person beyond the fact of maybe in some respects having some negative outlooks on the town. So, and that should just be part of the conversation. So, and I don't know what the synergy of the committee is. I don't know, I mean, Tracy, is Dave Taylor and I thought it was Rebecca and Joe, do they still do a lot of the scheduling for the field?
As far as I know, Mr. Taylor does the scheduling. But that was, anecdotally quite some time ago. I don't know if that's still.
I mean, so, how would you like to reconcile that? Have we lifted the hold on Diane Manter, or is that still in place?
As long as there's no issue with litigation.
Yeah, why don't we take this one person at a time? Can we vote these committee members at a time? Or do we have to take the committee as
No,
as a whole?
All right, Richard Kaplan, will motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Diane Manter,
Motion to approve.
is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. So there was only two? So that doesn't make it Warren Manton. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those
I
in?
understand. Is this all?
We're going one by one.
One by one now.
So Warren Winter is
We,
approved?
no, not yet.
Yeah, we haven't got that far.
All those in favor? All right, so right now Diane and Warren haven't made it. John McElhaney?
Move.
Second.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Joe Story, motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Joe doesn't make it. Rebecca Tekesian, motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yep. Is there discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Dave Taylor,
So moved. Second.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Celine?
No,
We need Bill Ware.
Oh, Bill Wett, yep, Bill Wett.
So moved.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Celine?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Mark? Motion?
Second. So moved.
Second.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Michael?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
So.
we should head forward now for what?
Were there any abstentions on the Warren matter? Anyone abstain or recuse himself in that vote? Just so Ellen has it for the record.
I did not vote on Diane, Warren, or Joe.
I'm abstaining from Warren Mantis,
No one
vice
voted.
council.
No one voted
For Warren, everyone abstained.
because of the situation, and Diane only had 2 votes, and Joe only had 2 votes.
Get what I was gonna say.
And so now we should, Alicia,
Oh,
really look
so
forward
I
to
know what I
trying
was
to
gonna say,
redesign
hold on.
this.
We have Celine and Michael both home here. I would like to thank them for taking the time to come in here and for offering their time and be on this.
Which
committee.
one, Celine? Hi, oh wait,
Celine.
Mike, where's Mike? Mike, thanks.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you
We
both.
have a committee to wrangle, okay? Thank you.
Good luck, guys.
And now another, well, never mind.
I'd be happy to serve on a steering committee to redesign the rec committee
Yeah.
at any point.
And that's a good word, because that's what it's gonna have to be.
Thank you.
And we're gonna have to think about this. And we should probably have people from several, maybe of the boards, and then we need the people from all the various concerns. Who would craft some of that guideline?
Me, no.
Well, no, but you're gonna need a little help. Who would help?
You would appoint a committee,
Okay.
you know.
What's Felix
Alicia
up there,
wants
so
to
he
be
wants to
the
get
select
involved?
board.
I would like to have somebody on this
Well, you got 2
board.
people now in the committee already,
Who, me and you?
No, Dale.
you and Dale.
Me and Dale.
Okay.
I would like to have somebody, I would like to have a
And Martha.
liaison. She doesn't have enough to do.
I know.
I would like to have a liaison to the rec committee, as similar to what I'm doing with the media committee, where I go to the meetings and I try to keep our.
I mean, here's the thing, I don't know how to do it. When we start to take on, the recreation committee starts to take control of things, we gotta think about this. Like Alicia was saying, now the building's gonna be in it. The mowing of Mantor Field has already gotten in it.
No, I don't
Now
want the
we're gonna
building in
start to get into the mowing of the Little League fields.
I'm taking the building
This is
out.
all gonna be part of it.
No, we're
so-
taking the building out, aren't we?
Just listen for a second. All those things are gonna be part of this. So it is gonna be at an expense, it might be good, but we just gotta think about how this would begin to evolve. Because the recreational committee, the way it is now in Mantor Field, it's become almost an extension of the town, Tracy, right? So if we start to head forward on that same blueprint, it's becoming almost an extension of the town in some of the vision that has been set here tonight. And, you know, I don't know what that means for added expense to take over mowing the Little League fields that they've so well done for so long themselves. So we gotta think about how we're going into this. It's gonna take some time.
So do we want to put a discussion of this on the 28th agenda?
Good idea.
All right, I'm done talking about the rec committee.
I mean, how do we start to head into the guidelines? Let alone, do we head into some guidelines that, do we ask someone to maybe look at some of the guidelines from other towns and how they do it?
Yeah, that's generally how you start.
So I think that should be done first, and then we should talk about how we're gonna head into beyond that, and then we're gonna have to have public hearings. We're gonna have to get people together.
The committee would do all the research and report back to the board. And then-
Masco and Pentucket would be a good start. They have 3 towns.
Yep. they do.
So are we
I think it
heading,
has to take off.
are we heading down the road then, asking for advertising for that committee?
The steering committee? Sure.
So it would be part, whoop, there's Jen.
So,
Whatever we do, that's the next step, see if we can get some people to be on the committee. And you would want to contact the Little League Committee, you would want to contact the Standing Rec Committee for a part of that committee, you'd want to contact whoever else might be someone that would be on that committee. All right. Okay.
Remember on the zoning board of appeals?
ZBA.
Yeah. All right. Gotta go back, where am I?
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Zoning Board of Appeals, we have 3 members added terms to alternatives. So who is up is Eric Swan and Elaine Baker as an alternate, and Doug Packard as an alternate. So what Alicia brought up earlier, we'll take all 3 as a motion, and if Doug can't serve because town council says something, we'll deal with that
Well,
later.
I have
So
another
moved.
issue with that. So we can, somebody move it?
I moved it, let's second it, then we'll have
Yeah.
discussion.
You moved it, I'll second it.
Go ahead, discussion.
Discussion. The issue that I have with Doug serving as the zoning board of appeals is that he's part of the inspectional services. And when you go before the ZBA, it's usually to adjudicate something that's had come out of the building inspector office. Not only that, he's also the conservation agent, and he also acts as the chair of the Conservation Commission. And if there's a project that he's already had a vote on it once. And I'm not saying this to be negative to Doug, because honest to God, he steps up to the plate every time he's asked. He sits on all kinds of boards and committees, and I don't think he did, I think he's trying to, I really believe he's trying to help. But I don't see how you can, to me, this is like you go before, you're in court, and you go before a judge, and the judge rules against you, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna educate it, and you go before the next judge, and you go before the next court, you bring it up to an appeals process, and then there's the same judge again, and you're like, oh my God, I already told you once.
Zoning board does not have anything to do with the inspection of services.
No, that's not true, that's not what town council told me today. Any building codes, or any building inspector, any building permits, or anything like that.
Don't put one on me if it is.
No, I mean, I think what Doug's vision is that he would be or could be at some of those meetings if he was asked, because he's probably more versed in the process than some of the people that are doing some of the stuff that have very complicated issues that can get into, especially with Combined and some of the overlay districts and all the other stuff. And I think that's what his thought was.
No, let me read this to you. This is just right from here, Article 11, enforcement, the authority to enforce. This bylaw shall be enforced by the selectmen or a building inspector appointed by them. No building shall be built or altered, and the use of a building shall not be changed without a permit having been issued by the selectmen or the building inspector. Any person violating any of the provisions of the bylaw may be fined by not more than $100 for each offense. Each day that this violation continues shall constitute a separate offense. So he is the building inspectional service.
No, he is the assistant building inspector when Sam's not there.
Okay, I see this as a conflict of interest and I do not support it.
Well, if Ginny makes a statement to you like that, it should be in writing.
Yep.
So ask Ginny to get it in writing. And we're gonna hold on Doug till Ginny gives that to me in writing, and we'll make a motion to the other two.
She had a question.
Go ahead. Who had a question?
No, I had a comment.
Go ahead.
This is a matter that had been brought up in Massachusetts years ago. And in small towns, when there is competence and there might be the appearance of a possible conflict, as an expediency, it's been allowed because of the fact that you have a limited amount of talent in any pool in town. And so those things, in fact, have been allowed in the past for small towns in Commonwealth.
Which is duly noted, and we'll get a written discussion from Ginny or opinion. A lot of times, Alicia, when you're going to ask something like that at town council, you gotta write it down first.
Yeah.
So, because it makes life a lot harder when they don't have it written down. So we're gonna make a motion on the two, alternate and Eric.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I would move that we approve Doug pending hearing that he shouldn't be in there by town council.
Then I can go with that too. Go ahead and make a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No, I don't know. Wait a minute, it's the 3 yeses?
Yeah, you've duly noted. Did you vote, JR?
No, I didn't.
All
I'm gonna hold off on that. I'm conflicted about it. I don't feel like I can make it.
right, so there's 3 yeses and 2, I guess, against.
Well, one abstain and one.
Oh, okay, until
Frank
Ginny,
abstained, or you-
Yeah,
until Ginny gives us the heads up. Okay, are we on to Ellen? Did I skip anything? No.
Will you
Ellen,
appoint you, Ellen?
yeah, Ellen's appointment, please. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Tracy.
Absolutely. Can I vote twice?
You also have before you the year-end appropriation transfers. These have been discussed and approved by the Finance Committee. All year-end transfers, since they don't have to go to town meeting for an appropriation or a vote, it requires that both the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee review them and approve them before they can happen. We do this every year. It's allowed under the general laws. It's only allowed at the end of the year. And it's transferring money that's left over or available in one line item appropriation into another to cover a potential shortfall. Normally what towns would have to do, not cities with councils, but towns would have to do is at this time of the year, we'd have to call a special town meeting to make the minor transfers. But they've changed the law. The last probably 4 or 5 years you've been able to do this. So you see in front of you a couple of transfers. One is moving $1,350 from the inspection salary and wages account into the inspection expenses account. And there is also, I should mention to you, a cap. You can't exceed 3% of the operating budget. So that's the first transfer. I don't know if you want them individually, Mr. Chairman, or...
I mean, I think we can do them all. and
Okay.
If there's a hole, we'll put a hole on it.
Okay.
So,
The second request is for $7,234.80, asking to be transferred from the library salary and wages account to the library expenses. Next one is asking for $12,000, $5,000 of which transferred from the tax title and foreclosure account, $7,801 to be transferred from the fire insurance premiums account, which had a savings, to be transferred into the fire department maintenance account. That one we did address for fiscal year 2017. We saw a significant increase in the fire department expense account to pay for maintenance of all of the apparatus, but we didn't have that in place for 2016, so that's what this transfer would cover. Request for $3,000 to be transferred from the Essex Regional Retirement Assessment to the Medicare expense. a request for $6,604.98, $1,566 from the ambulance enterprise insurance account, $5,038.98 from the ambulance enterprise expense account. All of that, the $6,604.98 in total being transferred into the ambulance enterprise salary and wage account. So that's all within the ambulance enterprise operating budget, just transferring between line items, and that's it.
Motion to approve all of the transfers?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Old business. Is that a good time for you on Donnie, old business? I suppose it was old because we had it.
Yeah, it already happened. So, Donald Jarvis came before us to talk about the proper disposal of flags. And he's done a considerable amount of work to make that happen. He got a old mailbox from the mail, what is his, general? I forget this title, whatever his title is. But he got an old mailbox. He brought it to the art department at the high school. A number of students sanded it, repainted it. It's going to be mounted over in front of the Byfield Fire Department. They're going to give the Boy Scouts instructions on how to properly dispose of flags. They hope to have a ceremony to inaugurate it and have invited us to attend. But he's very excited about having a proper system for disposal of flags in towns and hopes to bring it to some of the surrounding towns as well. And the students who worked on the mailbox did a very nice job. It looks really good. It got into the paper, I understand, and so I think he's got something to be proud of in moving that forward and providing a service to the town that we haven't had before.
Good for him.
Thanks, Donnie. Citizens' concerns, any?
Any citizens out there? Mark?
Correspondence. Correspondence. As I understand this, Martha,
Yes.
in reading that, this is something that has been done and prepared, and this is letting us know that it's been approved along with these other towns?
Right, if you recall, a few weeks ago, you all signed the resolution of adoption for the multi-hazard mitigation plan.
Yep, I
And so
remember
that was the last step in the whole process. Once that was done, FEMA sends an official approval letter, which this is, saying that the town is now eligible to apply for the FEMA grants. The rest of it actually talks about the requirement to review and revise it as appropriate every 5 years, which has always been a requirement. And then there was a checklist here, which basically just kind of outlined the process that we went through. It actually went through a couple of revisions before it was approved by them. And then there's sort of a list of their toolkit for approvals and that kind of stuff. So essentially it's saying, you guys have done everything you need to do and it's approved. So you can apply for grants now.
All right, good. So it's another tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
Review of meeting minutes, none. Warrants, we have a motion to sign warrants?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting updates? Anyone go to meetings?
What's that? Nothing else.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Ooh, and that- and
Yep.
that-
Do we have a?